No. So what they're saying, right? To be clear for our audience, because I actually read that article. I didn't look at that. But let's what they said was
dropping gems like we preaching. Don't overstep the
Welcome to another episode of The Jury's Out.
Yes, sir.
I am your host, Splaticus, aka Jack. You should already know me. Always in my left or my right, or sometimes only on my right, are my co-hosts, Eugene and Ed. We have a great episode for you today. In the building, we have Nicole Garrett, former DOE educator. She's gonna. Why don't you introduce yourself to the people? Let them know, what you were, who you are now.
What I am is amazing. Who I was amazing. But I got let go from the DOE because I did not take my vaccination.
All right, and we're gonna get into that. But before we get into that, we need to shout out our sponsor for this episode, Hopkins Law Group. We appreciate them, letting us use the space, as always. We have something new now. We have not so much a competition, but we're giving away free tickets to an NYCFC home game in Yankee Stadium. All you got to do in order to win those tickets is to hit the like button, subscribe, and comment what you liked about the episode, what you didn't, what you feel like you may have left out, or
tell us how you feel. We want to know. We want to get to know our audience.
And we will choose a random person who has commented.
Yes.
To win those tickets. So definitely look forward to that.
An announcement will be on IG, so you got to go there too.
That's right. So you should be following us on all platforms, all right, in order to get involved. So with that being said, we can get right into it. So Nicole, you were a DOE educator, and then let go because you didn't take the vaccine. Let's start off where it was. Why did you choose to become an educator? What was it?
Well, I wanted to become an accountant and didn't feel it. Then I wanted to drop out of college, and my mom was like, try something else, just try anything. So I took one education class and I loved it. And that's where my passion grew. As a student growing up in New York City schools, I was not interested in education. I hated it, as I was explaining to you earlier. And so when I found that I had a passion for education, I determined that I was not going to teach the way I was taught. And so I would go in and try to innovate and elevate the way the students were taking in information and the way I was putting out the information for them to receive it. So instead of just having talks and talking to the kids and putting them in group work, I would try to incorporate arts. I would always try to, because I'm creative, so I would always try to make it fun. What's going to make this fun? What's going to make it stick? What project can I attach to it? So that's how my passion for education started, and that's how I chose to try to make a difference in children's lives.
Now, so you said you wanted to be an accountant. What made you want to be an accountant? I've actually never met somebody who wants to be, an accountant from the jump. So I'm serious.
Well, see, that doesn't pan out well.
Right.
But so I liked numbers. I was okay in math growing up. And so I was like, I could do this. But then I found out I wasn't that good in math when I got to college. And I was like, maybe this is not it. And it wasn't fun. It was like just boring, just looking at numbers. And I'm more than just looking at numbers. And so
got you.
That's the diversion.
You let that go.
But in sidebar, in between there, I was like, I'm going to become an assassin.
You was doing it all. An accountant assassin.
Yeah.
And my daddy stopped me.
All right. I've acquired a set of skills.
I have a particular set of skills.
I will find you.
Where'd you go to school?
So Bronx elementary school, CS 47. Bronx middle school, IS 116. High school of fashion industries.
Okay.
And college, started off at Medgar Evers College. Okay. By the time I was a horrible student, so by the time I decided I wanted to switch into education, they're like, your grades suck, so you cannot. And so I switched schools, and they took my grades that were good, and then I built on there and graduated with a good GPA.
So you graduated, your education degree was from Medgar Evers?
No. So my associates in special education is at Medgar Evers. I couldn't get into the education program because of my GPA, so I switched to Mercy College. They didn't have the education program, so I switched into, I don't even remember what it was. That was 20 years ago. But then from there, I applied to become a fellow, a teaching fellow.
Oh, the teaching fellows.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
am
yeah.
a New York City teaching fellow, cohort 3. And that's how I came into education. My master's degree is from Adelphi University.
Okay.
Okay.
And what does that mean, teaching fellow?
So the teaching fellows is a program that they have in New York City where they kind of fast track your master's degree, but it's like it's also they support you, they also pay for it, right? You know, they
And
pay
the reason why they brought the teaching fellows, and they at that particular time they said if we can get a range of perspectives other than just that of education, they thought it would be more beneficial. So you have people leaving the business field, you have people leaving hospitals, all coming into this program with the hope that their insight from whatever fields they were could help to rejuvenate and inspire the students. And so it was not just the fast track, but it was also the opportunity to bring in different expertises, which is why also they came up with the principal program to say you don't have to be an educator, come from anywhere, and we can put you in here and see how your expertise can help to inspire the department.
which I mean on paper it works, right? Because if as a principal, it's more administrative work. So if you've run a Fortune 500 company, then you can run a school. You know, you can run the finances. If you're an accountant, you can make sure that money that's coming into the school is allotted and accounted for and all that sort of jazz.
How did it work out in reality?
Yeah, exactly. So
No, there's a question. How did it work out? You said on paper. it sounded
yeah.
good.
Well, I mean, the thing is that from my experience, I mean, you've got way more experience than me, but from my experience is like some of those people don't understand the ecosystem that a school needs to be, because a business ecosystem or a corporate ecosystem is not it's not the same as a learning ecosystem. You know, a corporate ecosystem, you're supposed to know everything you need to know in order to do your job. And so there's no kind of teaching element or leeway or being like, okay, I know you don't understand this, I'm going to take the time out to educate you. And so in schools, it has to be that absolution, right? It has to be fertile ground rather than all we focus on is harvesting, you know? And so that didn't transfer well, because you got people 20 years working in corporate or working in these different environments and then coming here and being like, wait, my practices that I've been doing for the past 10, 20 years is not working in this environment. Oh, it's y'all, it's not me. I'm the professional, you know? So do you want to like comment on that?
I will. In doing so, they removed what is the definition of a principal. The definition of a principal is a master teacher. So you cannot pull someone from everywhere and say you can do this job, because you do not have the understanding of what's necessary for the building blocks of success within that system. So if you are what my old principal was able to do, if I went to her and said I have this problem, she was able to solve my problem in my lesson plan. This is what you should be doing. This is what you need to look at. Whereas if I went to a current principal, they can't do that because their mindset is not there. A principal, by definition, is a master teacher. And so it's not just paperwork. You understand what each level within your school needs, and you can provide it. If you had to step in, you can step in. And that's what a principal is. It's not just administrative, but they've turned it into that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I feel like a principal is purely like a manager. Like, I've never seen a principal substitute teach. Like, that just doesn't happen. So I never knew that it was because the principal's supposed to be a master teacher. That's very like jarring that it's not that anymore.
I mean now they've kind of phased that out. You know, where it's like, you know, now they went back to being, you need to be a teacher in order to be a principal. You got to do your time. There are still some principals out there that are grandfathered in, you know, that have just been doing it for the past 10 years. That, you know, they got in before the shutter came down. But now, if you're going to become a principal now, you got to be a teacher, because they're just, you know, they realized that, you know, you've got to know the inner workings. You got to know what your teacher's experience is. Because you're there to not so much catch them doing something wrong, but if you see something wrong, like she was saying, you know how to redirect them, because you've been doing it for X amount.
We're talking
of
about principal to teacher.
principals, right? So there's supposed to be an administrative support system, you know, and so you get that in some places, other places you don't. But yeah, what? So now let's get to the topic at hand, because it's something that I personally had to, it was something that I had to deal with and a decision I had to make. What stopped you from being an educator or being an educator for the DOE?
I did not take the vaccination. And as soon as I put in my exemption, within a half an hour, I had a rejection.
Damn.
Really? Mm-hmm. So and when you put the rejection, when you put the paperwork for the exception, it was done digitally or on paper?
It was on computer, so I had to type a letter, I had to scan it, submit it. And I thought it would take a couple of days.
Right.
In a half an hour, I had an email that said it was rejected.
What was the basis of your exemption?
I put in a religious exemption. I originally was not going to put an exemption, but my tribe said put it in, just so you don't know what's going to happen, so just put in an exemption. I did not want to take the vaccine because I was going through a challenge health-wise. And they said I had severe eczema, so my hair was falling out, I was losing weight. And I'm like, if eczema is something that causes you to be allergic to stuff, why would I take something that's unknown and put it in me when my body's already fighting the things that it already knows?
Right.
And so to me, that wasn't wisdom. And so I just said, I'm going to just trust God and not take it. And I haven't had COVID at all. But I put that in his hand and I said, I won't take it. And for the first year when they let us back in, when the classrooms were supposed to be 6 feet apart, and you had a minimum, you were supposed to have like 10 kids because the space warranted it. I taught in the cafeteria, which was a small cafeteria, so then we didn't have 6 feet apart because I had 25 students.
Damn.
And even with that, I didn't have the vaccine at that point. That wasn't mandated. I didn't get sick. I was good. Then the next year, they came up with the vaccine. They're like, take it. I'm like, I just taught for a whole entire year, 25 kids, not social distanced, and I'm fine, so I should be fine. But they let me go.
I want to take a step back to, so you put the paperwork in, and you get a half hour later, you get a rejection letter. So does the rejection letter say, okay, we reject this application because, or it was just, this is rejected? Did they give you any reason?
They didn't give a reason.
No. And did you try to inquire, like what was the reasoning behind it?
Well, at that point, when I put it in, it was after October 1st. So they already shut me out of the system because they let us go the first Monday. That was the 4th of 2021, I believe. I couldn't access my DOE stuff. And so they had already shut me out. And so in my head, I wasn't bothered because all I knew is that I was not going to sign anything and I wasn't going to quit. They would have to fire me. And so I just left it there and I didn't try to rebut anything. I said, I'll just let the process play out.
How long were you in the DOE?
20 years.
Up until that point. So
Up until that, 20 years and 1 month.
Wow.
So,
Damn.
the process before putting in the exemption, because it seems like you said by the time you put in your exemption, you're already locked out of the system. So what was the process before that? Like, I guess they asked everyone to indicate affirmatively if they are gonna get a vaccine. There's a date
So yes,
bring in paperwork.
September started school. You didn't have the vaccine. They said by the second week in September you needed the vaccine.
You needed at least the first dose.
The first dose.
Yeah.
I didn't take it, but then it went to court, and so it was on hold. So that bought some time. Then the system came back and said if you don't have it by this Monday, like you have to show up with your vaccine card by this Monday, or else don't come to the school. So you couldn't show up, you couldn't try to enter anything, or else you'll be arrested or whatever. And so it was just every week, are you going to get the vaccine? I'm not going to get the vaccine. And up until that point, you could go and swab to make sure you didn't have COVID weekly. And so that's what I was doing. And then I let my principal know I'm not taking it. So find place for me. Find somebody to take my place for the 4th.
Now, while this is happening, are you getting any advice or like recommendations from your union reps and stuff like that? Like, is this something you was experiencing completely on your own, or was there kind of like a group advisement of what you should or not do, should do?
The advisement was to get it.
Oh,
So the UFT was
By the
not
union?
Yeah. So they had, even before we went back to school and we heard about what would happen, there was a meeting, a call, and everybody calls in, and the UFT doesn't mention anything about how they're going to support their members that don't want it.
yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, in my school, there were about 30 teachers who were like, I'm not taking it. But many people are driven by fear.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, if all of those people that said they were not going to take it didn't take it, there's no way they could have been done what they did, because they wouldn't be able to function without us.
Right.
And so if you were going to put out half of the school, you'd be like, okay, we have to rethink this. But because we were driven by fear, people were driven by fear, they backed down.
Yeah, I'm one of those people.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people got the vaccine. Like after a while, like
Yeah, I took the vaccine because I was afraid I was going to lose my health care.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like the job, I wasn't worried about the job because I'm young, I'm intelligent, I could find a job anywhere. But like the healthcare was like a big thing, and I provide healthcare for me and my wife, and it's like and my wife is a pediatrician. She's in the doctor's world, and she got that like off jump. And me and her were always knocking heads back at it. We were always arguing, not really arguing, but discussing. Steel sharpens steel. Like, what about this? What about that? And I'm asking all these questions, and it was always. So I won some arguments. She won most of them because she's smarter than me. but it was still like I was just like no. And then they were like, you ain't gonna have a fucking job, and then you're gonna keep your health care for a year or whatever. But then after that's it, and I folded, and like. To be honest, I look back at that moment. Now, I mean, obviously, it's easy to say that now because now I've seen. Before we get to that, I've seen the end result, which we're going to get to. But I'm upset, and I look at myself in the mirror every day like you folded, bitch.
Do y'all remember Samsung came out with the Note 7?
Right.
It was started like blowing up and everything, and like they was issuing recalls.
Yeah.
So I had the Note 7,
Right.
and I had it for years. Never
both
had
had
any
it.
problems. We both had it, but you turned yours in way earlier than I did.
I don't think I did.
No, I had mine up until like Verizon did everything they could for me to turn that phone in.
Right.
They sent me letters.
Right.
They sent me a box that had a metal box in it with some rubber gloves saying, put your phone in this when you turn it in because we don't want it to blow up as you send it in the mail. And I just didn't do it until they finally was like, all right, we're cutting your phone off. And they cut it off in the middle. It was a Saturday night at like 11 p.m. I'm out. And they cut my phone off. So I say all that to say, like, it was a same situation with my job. Like, it was like, listen, we're going to cut you off if you don't get this vaccine.
Right.
So, at the end of the day, people, like you said, are driven by, well, for me, I was over the cliff with the phone. But for the vaccine, like, they're driven by fear. And that's how this whole thing started. Like, when COVID started, it was all fear. Everything was fear-based, even the information that was out there.
Right.
You don't know if it's real or not. Right. Like, and it's all misinformation, all driven off of fear. So it was kind of hard to tell, like, you know how the government can be with, new vaccines and shit. So
and it really didn't. Logically, I feel like if you're gonna do something like this, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm sorry. There should be exceptions.
Right.
There should be and not to say I get it, but like, they try to do a hard stance because they felt like the exceptions would have ate up the rule. I guess I'm guessing that was their theory.
Well, they know that fear makes people do things. They know that. Yeah, fear
Interesting
sells.
thing to me is like when they first put out the commercials, they said take this at your own risk. And so I was like, why am I going to risk my life to take something?
Right. And now you're
So
going to
clearly
mandate
you
it.
don't know.
Yeah.
And then now it's a mandate. I'm like, I'm not taking something that's supposed to be at my own risk. And they say, if you take it and you receive side effects from it or anything, you can't come back and sue because this is a trial.
Right.
That's what they said. And then they removed those commercials.
Right.
As they started to mandate it, they removed those commercials. But they put all of that out there. So if I am trying to take care of my body and myself and I want to live, and I know that you're telling me this is a trial, I'm not trying it till I see it succeeded.
Facts.
Yeah, and that was a big issue for me because like I wasn't really so against the science, right? Because my wife was always breaking it down for me, like the whole concept of an mRNA vaccine, right? It's a new technology and it's a different way with medicine. Me, I was just looking at the way they were marketing it, you know? And I was just like, man, y'all selling this to me the same way they sell McDonald's burgers. Like, you know, you just, like, the photos of the McDonald's burgers aren't real burgers. That's not meat. That's a piece of plastic that's shiny that you spray with the gloss to make it look like juicy. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you've ever seen the behind the scenes of food commercials, you know, the ranch is not ranch, it's glue.
The cheese
you know what
is
I'm
glue.
saying?
Yeah.
The cheese is glue, or like, and so to me, I was just, I was like, I just don't trust the way you're showing me or informing me about this. And so, and also, like, the doctors are going up there like, yeah, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to lock down, we got to do this. And I'm like, yo, bro, you're a doctor. You spent a massive chunk of your life in a library. You can scare easy. You know, no disrespect. You wasn't on the streets. You know, you wasn't like getting into fights and nothing like that. So no disrespect. You was a nerd. You was in the library most of your life studying to get that degree you got to be a doctor.
I like nerds.
You cheeks to me, bro. Like, no disrespect, but you, like, I feel like I could go like this and you go, oh. You know, I'm not gonna listen to you. You know what I'm saying? Or take demands from someone like you. You know, if it was a general that was up there that was like with missing eye or some shit and was like, take this shit, I would be like, oh, okay, maybe.
I mean, look, I think like now what we know, looking at it from now, like, I think it's majority safe. I think there was a big need for it to keep people safe, which I'm not knocking, you know, and I think that the vaccine should have been made, and I think people should take it. But the mandating part is what's hard for me. Like, you know, you're forcing people to take something. I think people, listen, we die on certain hills of freedom for everything else in this country.
Right.
Freedom to speak, freedom to have guns.
Right.
It's the freedom to, you know, take what's in your body and what's not. Like, it's very simple. So I just never agreed with the mandate. I still don't agree with the mandate. But, you know, I'm glad they made the vaccine, and I think, you know, people should get the vaccine. I'll say that, you know. But
yeah, right. Well, I'm not.
The mandate is the problem.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't. If you are in charge of your own health and what you put in your body, and you should have autonomy over that.
Right.
Right. The thing that really bothered me was it was what they said in order to justify the mandate, right? And what they said, which we found out was a lie, was, oh, if you get the vaccine, then you're not going to pass it. Right?
Oh, yeah. That didn't make any sense.
And I thought to
me.
myself, when I heard that, I was like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that I can't catch it?
Yeah.
Excuse me, or I can catch it, but I can't pass it?
Well, it was worse back initially, right? Initially, they were saying you're gonna get this vaccine and you're never gonna get it again. Like there was that's the dream
during the first week.
They were selling
Was that your
that dream.
experience? Like you were watching the same TV we were watching, you know, and stuff.
So they were saying when you got, my recollection, you get the vaccine, then you'll be safe.
Yeah.
And then as people got the vaccine and they were getting sick, they're like, well, when you get the vaccine,
You get less sick.
you'll get less sick,
Right.
and you won't.
Yeah, you won't pass it to somebody else.
And then when they found that people were getting sick and
passing
passing it,
it.
then they were like, you just need to go get a booster.
Yeah, and it was so crazy to me. I was just like, yo, that doesn't make any fucking sense. That you're telling me that you can give me something and I can't pass it. It's like you couldn't, you can't do that for the fucking cold.
Yeah,
if I take Theraflu or I take a fucking or NyQuil, if I cough on my partner or at night, they're gonna get sick. So and that to me, I was just like, that's total bullshit. That is total, like, y'all are bullshitting us. But at that time, all the people that I know, my friends and family, were calling me crazy. They were like, no, Jack, you just need to listen. Why are you so combative? Why you think everything is a conspiracy? I'm like, no, it's not a conspiracy, bro. It just doesn't fucking make any sense.
Yeah.
There is no other medicine that works like that.
Or like,
So how are you telling me that this one is going to work like that?
or like you could have proof that you have gotten COVID. You got COVID, so you
Right.
have the natural antibodies.
Right.
And they're saying double down on that
Right,
shit.
exactly.
Which to me, that was fucking crazy because I'm pretty sure, like, if you already have if you already have the infection in your body and you got natural antibodies, taking a vaccine on top. Like I remember being like, isn't that gonna, like, they would say, oh yeah, your initial reaction to it is gonna be really bad because your body's going, no, oh shit, not again.
Right.
So they were saying, like, because there was like a little bit of a hangover, you'll get like a day one. There was like, yeah, if you got COVID and you got, because what was it, like, there was a test that said if you have antibodies and you're testing positive on that test, taking the vaccine is definitely going to like be worse than if you don't.
Right.
Something like that, if I recall. Like I remember I had to get it because my wife wanted to go on vacation. I don't think I ever got to the point where legally it was like, make sure you get that shit.
Yeah,
Right.
My wife was like, they opened the borders back? We going on this plane. We gonna figure that shit out.
Right. Which is another thing that was. I mean, I understand you want to stop people from traveling because they potentially have it, but like, what were the tests for? Right? Like you made these tests all available, and you still putting these mandates off of lies. But that's what's the crazy thing about science, right? That's the crazy thing about medicine is they'll make something and then they'll see if it works, and so. Like that was another thing that made me like not want to take it is because I found out that like you were saying, oh, if I put this in my body and God forbid something happens to me, oh, I die, I can't sue y'all. I can't sue you.
So the people who made the vaccines,
right? The company that made the vaccines.
When we start growing third heads and shit, we can't. None of us
you
can
can't
sue them?
because the president signed an executive order to allow them to produce this product.
Faster than they should have.
No, faster than they should have. But then also distributed it with no responsibility for what the fuck is gonna happen. So I had 70 different conspiracies. One was that they're free balling and they're just trying to make money, and they make money with no repercussions, regardless of what happens. Two, it's just salt water they're putting into your body. There's nothing in it. They're not really giving you anything, and they know you're not going to die from it. Or if you do, you can't come back to them because in a quiet where everybody signs an NDA, you're in the courtroom and you find out we just put salt water in you, bro. So whatever you had or whatever your family member died from was already in their body. And that's another way that they would have been able to protect themselves. So to me, like back to what I was saying, the marketing and the way they were moving their chess pieces was just all red flags to me.
Yeah.
But
so now, in your situation, do you know anybody that their exception was granted?
I do. I know one person who she actually, which I didn't know you could do, but when she put in her paperwork, she went with a lawyer. And UFT was like, you're not supposed to have representation
Outside the union?
It sounds like one of those exception situations.
that's crazy.
She said to me that they were arguing with her lawyer, like, you shouldn't be here. And then when they looked in their bylaws, they saw that she could have representation. So she never lost her job.
Wait, she was meeting with the school or her union?
With the union.
Oh, okay, got you. Mm-hmm.
And so she wound up being placed in a special place where she had to work from virtually, but she never lost her job. And she started to go for me. She's like, I need help hiring a lawyer. She got the lawyer and she went in. I found this out after. I was like, oh, I didn't think so.
Wow.
So that's the part that I'm finding interesting right now is because I know, not to mention who specifically our job, but the union we got, you could murder a baby and they still going to fight for those rights. They're going to hold you down. We will like tell you kindly to retire later. We are not going to throw you under the bus.
Right.
Like, our union is super like, whatever you guys want to fight for, we're going to fight for. But it sounds like the teacher union was kind of like just saying play
like,
ball.
Yeah.
Take
That
it.
was why. Like we vote on everything. So did you guys have a vote on like how to
treat each
proceed
other, or like what the
we were told what should happen.
Damn, I
And
think the
so
union
we were
be-
told we should take it, and we were told if we don't take it, expect to lose your job.
by your union.
The union told us that.
And
And,
so
so on the call,
That's crazy.
I remember because before they took your question, they put you in a queue and you had to say what your question was. They never responded to my question. I'm going to see if I can recall what it was. It was something to the effect of, what are you all doing for the people who are choosing not to take it?
You were the only one that asked that question?
They never put it through. So I can't say that I was the only
got
one.
you.
They never put
There's
it
no
through.
record of you asking that question.
So before you
Damn.
can ask a question, there's a person, they're like, okay, your number X on the call, what's your question? And so it's like they were screening the questions. And so I can't say I was the only one that asked that question.
I'm sure you weren't.
I'm sure there were many people that were like, what's our course of action? But they just simply didn't put that through. And so we were never given a course of action if we chose not to take it. They just told us prepare to lose your job.
And so, all right, so like you are being said that you don't want to take it, and eventually like a deadline comes. Once that deadline hits, and you start to see the dominoes fall, you're locked out of the system and stuff like that. Did the union wash their hands with you, or was there an appeals process?
There was nothing. So what we knew and what I understood is that this is a mandate. This is what you have to do. If you choose not to do this, then this is what you're choosing. So by not taking the vaccine, this is your choice. You're choosing to lose your job. You're choosing to, and here's something really interesting. I thought it was crappy actually, but they said, if you don't take the vaccine, we're holding your job for a year.
Oh yeah, I did hear that. Yeah.
When they shut us out, they told us by November we needed to sign some paperwork to say that we wouldn't sue them, and then they would hold our job for a year.
Wow. God damn,
so
bro.
by
This sounds so terrible.
By November, you either had to sign that paper or resign.
Right.
But what if you didn't want to resign?
I didn't sign the paper. So February, I got a paper that stated that I was terminated.
Okay.
And that still wasn't even within the year that they said they would hold my job.
Right.
And this is the school that's...
This is DOE.
DOE.
That's what I mean, DOE.
Yeah, yeah.
So they let me go in October, November, December, January, February. I was gone in 4 months.
Damn, yo.
Damn.
So, all right, now you're gone. So, what's going through your head now at this moment, right? Your job was just stolen from you. So, what did some survival mode kick in? Like what what were you thinking in that moment?
So my survival mode kicked in before I got let go.
Okay.
I have a savings with the TRS, so I had pulled me some thousands to secure me for that year. I didn't know it was going to go into 2 years. So when 2 years hit, I was like, oh.
Right.
But I had already started to plan. I was like, okay, this is how my husband and I will make it. Now, my husband works in medical field. We had a talk. You're not taking this. My husband calls me. He's like, I got the vaccine. I'm like, we had a talk.
Wow.
Fold it.
Fold it too, man. I'll fold it too.
So
I live with it every day.
medically, I was secure because he took the
In your
vaccine.
DNA.
Right.
Sorry.
Which I was gonna interject, but I just lost my train of thought.
Oh,
but
right.
yeah, we had
So your husband took the vaccine.
My husband
You
took the
didn't, and
vaccine,
you
and I
were
didn't.
in survival mode a few
so
months.
I wanted to
Yeah.
set up, once I heard that there was a possibility, I already went to my TRS and I pulled some funds. I'm like, this is gonna carry us. Medically, I was sustained because my husband took the vaccine. But when they fired me, did a whole mental trip. So I would walk past schools and see the children, I'd start to cry. I'm like, I'm supposed to be there. And mind you, sometimes I didn't like teaching. Sometimes teaching sucks. You know? But I'm like, I wasn't supposed to leave like this.
Right.
Like I should have been leaving on my own terms. I shouldn't have been fired. And so it was actually months where you almost feel like you're schizophrenic because you're fine, and then like a commercial will pop up during the summertime and it's time to go back to school. And it's like, oh my goodness, I'm not going back to school. And all of this stuff is starting to flush through your head and stuff. And so emotionally, it was very hard because nobody likes something to just be snatched from under them. Even if you were prepared for it, I wasn't prepared for it. I knew the possibilities, but I had an expectation that by a year in, they'll see what's going on. I have the opportunity to go back to my job. Now 4 months later, I'm fired. And so that took a toll on me up until just recently. I'm fine going past school and hearing the children, and I'm okay. But it took a while for that to come out my system because I'm an educator. This is my life. This is what I do. I watch children. I take them on trips. Even when I see the school buses lined up, because I have a couple of schools nearby my home, I'm like, they're going on a trip. I wonder where they're going. Like all this stuff flashes into your mind. But the cool thing about having a supportive tribe, my family and my friends, they're like my dad. My dad gave me the most consoling and comforting words. He's like, you're smart, you're creative, you can make your way. And with that, I just felt the liberty of like, I don't need to go back there. I'm going to take everything that I have, everything that I know how to do, and I'm going to make my way.
Right.
And so now that we have the opportunity to go back, I was like, I'm not going back.
So,
But before we get to you going back, so now, how did you cultivate this new direction? And what was that new direction?
Okay, so I feel like God orchestrates life.
Okay.
I'm a Christian, and I'm a firm believer that when you put your faith in Him, He takes care of you. And so literally letting go and saying, I'm not going to be here for this time period, for that year. I didn't have fear. I didn't step into my decision making with fear. And I could say that's most likely why I didn't fold. Because
Respectfully, I know my lane, baby. I understand my lane.
because I understood that there's a higher power that guides me and carries me. And I'm gonna tell you this, I prayed for COVID angels, and I'm telling you this is why I didn't get COVID. And y'all might think I'm crazy.
No.
But literally I worked in a classroom that closed 4 times in the year that I worked in it because COVID cases kept popping up.
Wow.
The teachers had COVID, the kids had COVID, I never had COVID. I'm like, those are my COVID angels, y'all need to pray. But so I didn't walk into this with fear at all because I knew who sustained me. And so because I said God orchestrates life, a year before I got fired, the previous February, I did a connect group with my church. I'm a card maker, so I'm making cards. And one of the ladies stays in touch with me. So I call her up and we realize we suck at finishing things and we're going to hold each other accountable. So I set up a Zoom meeting so we can meet once a week. She said once a month. I was like, no, because if we miss a month, then 8 weeks have gone past and we didn't do anything. So every week we're going to meet. So once a week we would meet on the Zoom to hold each other accountable. I told some friends, we grew to like 14 people.
Nice.
Wow.
A year to the date that I was fired, I had registered the business in January, and a year to that date, I had that business where I have to backtrack. This is a year before COVID that I started doing this thing. So when they fired me was a year to the date that I started doing this. And so it's like, I feel God, who orchestrates life, prepared me a path to continue to walk on. So before I even knew that this was happening, I was practicing what he was going to let me walk out in. So now I currently run a business called Business Minds Collaborative Inc., where I work with small businesses and hold them accountable. And I had to practice a year before COVID got me fired.
Wow. What's it called again?
Business Minds Collaborative Inc.
Nice. And what is it?
So it is a platform that I run on Zoom where I help to hold small businesses accountable. So most of us start a business while we're at work and we don't have the time to commit to our businesses. So I provide an online platform where it's an hour and a half. You come in, there's a group of whoever signed up to be there. We share our wins, we set our goals. Within there is built in a half hour of work time. So you get to set that goal and work on your business during that half an hour.
Brilliant.
And then from there, we come back, share our wins, set our intent for the next week. So now instead of you visiting your business every couple of months because you remembered Mother's Day is coming and you need to have some product, you're now working on it consistently. You're seeing how you can market it. You're seeing how you can learn about social media. You're seeing how you can learn about advertising. I bring people in to speak to us every quarter so that we're learning different things. So I'm helping to elevate, educate, and
Empower.
that's it's 3 E's.
Yeah.
I wonder where I've heard that mission statement.
Encourage, elevate, and educate.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
So
yeah.
I encourage them, I educate them, and I elevate their businesses. They're doing the work, but I'm just support.
Wow.
That's dope. That's
incredible.
beautiful. Yeah, that's dope. Because a lot of times businesses set goals and it's like, okay, yeah, that's something that we need to do, and then like you move on and do something else, right? So that's a really good way of like organizing it and making sure you get stuff done. So that's great.
And it's also great because like I can definitely assimilate with the necessity of that, because as you have a career that you've already been, you've already designed your life around, but you have this passion, you have this desire to do something different, or to provide an additional stream of income, right? Because for me, I started my clothing line, Splaticus, out of the fear that, bro, like, okay, I took this vaccine, I folded, but I'm one job away from poverty, like complete zero, and that's irresponsible, especially when things are, inflation and things are just getting more and more expensive, and I want to have more autonomy over my time and be more efficient and get more by doing less. Maybe not doing less, but more efficient work. And so it's hard to add something new that deserves more attention than the job of you working for somebody else, which you've curated your life around. And so it's like, doing it on your own to sort of like, chip away at this stone that your life is solidified around is difficult. you know, and so that you have a support system, you have a company that provides that's a structural support system. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, structure.
Yeah, and it's essential. It's essential because now with hustle culture, you know, and entrepreneurship and people getting high off a hustle hype, right? Oh, you wanna be about this business? You can't sleep. Like, you know what? Like no breaks, no days off.
I'm the total opposite.
Yeah,
And so,
exactly. You have to sleep.
But the thing is, I'm saying there's a rise in that kind of content. So why is there a rise in that content? Because more people are paying attention to it, and so more people are paying attention to it. You're going to get more entrepreneurs or people who are going to attempt to go down that path, right?
Yeah.
And so you're, of course, and burnout, but through burnout, you start to learn where your lines are, and you manage that, right?
But you don't have to burn out.
You know,
like, that's the point
but the thing is you're providing a service where you're like, whoa. Okay, I know you want to go hard in the paint, right?
That's not sustainable.
But I've with my collective, I've developed a really good way at approaching that, so that you apply the pressure, but you don't destroy yourself in the process.
This is once a week?
Once a week.
Once a week, okay.
And so are you doing, but you're probably having meetings every day, right? Or is it literally just once a week for all of your clients?
So I have two different cohorts. I have a Monday and a Friday.
Okay.
The Monday is evening, 6:30 to 8, and the Friday is a little bit earlier, from 4:30 to 6.
And is there like a majority type of business that you see your service attracting, or is it really it's everybody?
So I'm young and I'm new, and currently I have like crafty people, but I also have some service providers. I have like a lady who heard what I do. She's like, I need you, and she didn't have a business at all, so she's literally starting from scratch, and she's a service provider. She's going to be a diabetic consultant.
Nice.
And so I have like a range, and the vision for my business is that I have a sustainable ecosystem where you can reach people, you can get products all within this ecosystem, and
Like networking.
it's a networking place, but it's also a place where you can service people. So we have a soap lady, we have body butter, we have earrings. One of them makes earrings, and we shop from each other for Christmas and stuff.
Right, yeah.
And just to create a system where we support each other financially, we support each other educationally, business wise, we support each other. And as I market my business, I market them, because all of their services are situated on my website. So as you're browsing them. And so I see myself, like for me, when they win, I win. So like during the Black Friday pop-up shop, I don't sell my cards or anything. I just watch them. And at the end, when I speak to them and I hear they're winning, that's where my joy comes. Knowing that I was able to put together something that helps them to go further, that exposes them to people that they wouldn't have been exposed to. And so that's the joy of it. And
so you being a teacher for 20 years, the skills, the incredible skills you've accumulated from that job, what were you able to transfer over to your new adventure? And
I feel like this all came from that, because as a teacher, you get a student, you look at what they are, what they have, you see a vision for where they can go, and you create that plan. Same thing for the business. They come to me, they're like, this is what I have. I'm already a visionary. I spent the last 20 years as a visionary. I've been looking at 25 students per year, seeing what you have and seeing where I can take you. So I'm doing the same thing with your business. It's absolutely a total transfer.
And so even though they're two different things, teaching and, on paper, they're two different things, teaching and the service you provide now, you coming into this, you already had the skills necessary to get this off the ground and to get it to function. You were already building systems. So that's brilliant. I think that's incredible. And I find that people who do something like that, they've been doing something for so long and then they sort of switch, it's what you've learned is still relatable. It actually gives you an edge to so you're not starting from 0, you're starting from 20%, you're always starting from 30, And so I think education, sorry, I don't care about any other occupation. If you go to school to learn how to teach people, bruh, I feel like that is an incredible skill to have, because it's applicable. It's applicable literally anywhere, right? If you're going to be a supervisor anywhere, a manager anywhere, you're going to be a better manager if you can if you can have the foresight and the ability to be like, okay, I asked you to do this job. It's difficult for you. What do you need support with? rather than you can't do the job, fired, find somebody else. You know, and when you keep the people on and you teach them and you show them, look, I care about you. I want you to, be good at this job, and I'm going to do everything I can to educate you because I'm not more knowledgeable about it. They work better. You know, they become a part of whatever system that you're a part of, and they're willing to do more for it.
And also as a teacher, you're innately looking for multiple ways for something to be done because your students aren't grasping it in the same way. So if you have to lay out this plan, you're looking for multiple ways. So when you transfer it to something else, like you said, you go into a situation where somebody doesn't understand something, you can look at what they're doing and already start to come up with a plan of how it can be done differently. So you might not even have to say, how can I help you? You might be able to say, this is what I see you're doing. This is what might improve it. And see if that helps.
Right.
Now, not to bring us back to bumming us down, but while this great thing is happening, is there things happening with the DOE? Like, are people thinking about filing lawsuits? Or
So I wanted to tap into that now because now recently we've gotten some new news, right? Where everyone who was in your situation are now receiving back pay for all the time that they were not able to work. They're also, and all the sick days they would have accumulated, and part of a grand lawsuit. So why don't you talk about your understanding of that shift, and now how are you going to get your slice?
All right. So before we were let go, I joined a class action lawsuit. So they're currently trying to get to the state level, to the federal level. They were shot down at the city, shot down at the state, and now they're trying to be seen in the Supreme Court. They've shot down federally, and they're working to the Supreme Court. So
that's a good court to be in for this topic.
that's how I prepared myself initially. Now that we're talking about going back, and I'm so not invested, because I don't want to go back. So I'm so not invested.
That's what I was gonna ask. Like, even if something happens where they're like, okay, come on back, would you?
I won't, and I'll explain that after I finish
Okay,
answering this
go on.
question.
Yeah.
But yes, they spoke about you getting your job back, but nothing has been said by the DOE about it. So in my head, if you sent me a letter to fire me, you should send me a letter to rehire me, right? That hasn't happened. Also, the
Back pay.
So
that's another process.
Okay.
But the mayor and those people are still not just doing what people said should happen. So whatever the governor said should happen, it's not happening. So there's still a long process for you to get in. So you have to go and apply for it. There's something called, I was just listening to it on my way in. I forgot the term, but basically it's like they blacklist you. So they put you on some type of list.
FBI list, right?
You're I'm now, what do you call me? A terrorist.
Yeah.
I'm a terrorist.
Yeah, something like that. You're on a watch list. You're on a watch list because you refused it.
Watch list for what?
Because I didn't take the vaccine. So
Because you didn't comply.
But like watch list for like what are you gonna do?
So
Because you did not comply. They used all their fear tactics to push down on you, and it didn't work. So you're
now I'm a problem.
right.
So I'm a little confused because it sounds like you're saying one thing, which is that there's a class action lawsuit. I would have thought the union was pushing this agenda, but one way or the other, teachers in your situations are not only getting offered their job back, but they're also going to get back pay because I would imagine in some sense the city, the state is acknowledging that they fucked up and legally they know they're going to pay, so they're trying to smooth it out and go, hey, if you want to come back, we'll pay you back your back pay. That's what it sounds like you're saying. But is that the reality or is that not reality?
It's not the reality. You have to go through, if you want to get back pay, you have to start the proceedings in court. You have to file a claim. You have to go through this whole process.
Okay.
And the judge will have to rule on whether or not you will get back pay. So you have to prove that you need back pay. So it's not that you're just saying, oh, we messed up, we're giving you your money. Now, we messed up, but now you need to fight us for your money.
You have to prove that we put you into poverty.
And I guess what
Essentially.
what was the evolution of that? Because I kind of feel like I'm trying to make sure I understand it. Because you're saying it one way, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm trying to understand like how did this information develop And what's your understanding of it? So there is a process to potentially get your job back and your back pay, and what is that process?
So my understanding is that you have to reapply for your job. When you reapply for your job, you're going to see that you're on this list that says you can't be hired.
Okay.
And you have to go and fight to get yourself off of that list so that you can get your job back.
That shit is
Then,
crazy.
if you want back pay, you have to file a claim and head to court to try to work on getting that, where the judge will say whether or not you can get back pay.
Okay, so like through trial and error, I'm guessing there has been established a path back that may result in back pay.
Right.
But part of establishing that path is requesting your job back, getting denied. It's like dominoes have to fall, and you can continue upon
And
that
I don't
path.
even know if my understanding is you can apply for back pay and not go back for your job. But I'm not sure exactly how that goes because
it's not clear cut.
it's not clear.
They're being very vague about it. So, just to sum this up, to bring this to a close, so what's your process now? Are you gonna like
Get that money?
Are you gonna get that money? Or are you gonna do what you need to do to get that money?
I am.
Good.
I am.
And so, what part of the process are you at right now?
I'm at the part where I'm just gathering information. I'm listening. I'm seeing where I need to go. Now, he asked me if I was going back. I'm not going back. I'm not going back because I have freedom. And I've learned that we are not taught to walk in our gifts, but to walk in somebody else's desires of what they want us to do. So even when we go to school and we say we're going to learn this and we're going to do this, we're still not at liberty. Like, I feel as a teacher, I wasn't at liberty to teach the way I would want to teach. I wasn't at liberty to express the way I wanted to express, to do things with my students the way I wanted to do them. And so there's always like a hand on you. And I've learned that you don't have to have that hand on you. And you can walk life and you can enjoy life, and you don't have to dedicate 1,000,000 hours after you got off the clock to a place. But you can have liberty to do stuff, and the liberties I'm enjoying is taking my parents to their appointments on a regular basis. My dad is 82, my mom is 76, and I don't want them on public transportation. So just having those liberties to be like, you need to go, let's go. I'm not giving that up.
Facts.
Yeah, I feel that.
So what's next?
What's next?
What's
I feel like
What's
the
up? What's next
sky
up?
is the limit.
Right.
Within myself, I know success is there. And so I know it takes patience. I know it takes time. And so I'm willing to walk that out. Let the bricks fall where they lay. I've already placed everything in the hand of God, and I know He's got me. And I'm just walking those steps that's going to take me to where I need to be. Travel, always a plus. I was able to go to Dubai right as soon as they let me go. I was like, babe, let's go. We went to Dubai. Normally I wouldn't go to Dubai because in the summer the tickets are like $2,000. It was not that in October.
COVID made everything discounted. It was cheap to fly anywhere, man, during COVID.
So, like, just being able to travel and not saying I have to wait till this time. Like, if my husband is like, let's go to St. Croix or something, which we did do. I was like, babe, let's go to St. Croix. I didn't have to wait till a specific time. We just booked the ticket and we left. And so just having the liberty to live life.
Right.
And the freedom to live life.
Joys of entrepreneurship, baby.
Yeah.
And what's next for the business? I mean, you're continually building your platform and your client base. But do you see a way of you expanding this service so it's not just you giving these classes or you create, you know what I'm saying? Like, what would maybe the next step for the business?
Well, first I'm trying to just get grounded. So before I even can think of anything else, I'm understanding how my beast is working.
Right.
So I'm learning what my beast is like. Eventually, I have nieces and nephews that I would love to bring them in and have them learn it. So should something happen to me a couple of years down the road, they'll be able to take it over. Right. I mean, they're young. They're 19 and so forth. But I see myself just building something that my niece and nephews can take over. I don't have my own children, but that they can take over. I see it being an ecosystem where people can just come in and learn, where people can come in and find what they're looking for in terms of product, in terms of services. And there's a platform where I'm a black lady, power to the people.
That's right.
But I'm trying to cultivate something where I can elevate black businesses and support black businesses. And so that's what it is. That's where I am.
Wow, man, I love it.
Nice.
I'm very so.
Beautiful.
Thank you very, very much, Nicole.
Yeah,
Your-
it's
your,
dope.
your story was incredibly fascinating, and I mean, I might not be in the same boat as you, but I'm cheering from the prison of vaccination. I'm forever an inmate, but I'm glad you stuck to your guns. You know, especially. You know, you didn't fold, and so if you didn't fold either, I'm sure you could.
Get that money,
get that check. And I don't care how many pages, I don't care how many things you got to apply for. Apply for that shit. Apply that pressure, man.
And if a sincere desire to going back to school is a requirement to get that money, she'll consider it.
I said if I have to go back for a year to get my check, I will.
She'll consider it. You want to make sure we don't want to have this podcast used against you.
Right,
She'll
right.
consider it.
If I have to go back for a year, I will.
All right, so before we close out, we definitely have to give a shout out to Unsung Hero of the Week.
Yes. Our unsung hero this week is Ralph Ventura. I call him Randy. He's a branch manager for a major bank. Doesn't want to mention the bank because not sure how they feel about it, but he is a branch manager for a major bank. And the reason why he's an unsung hero is because he really puts a lot of effort into educating the population that the branch services, and using his position to make sure that people understand the value of having a bank account, the value of savings accounts, and starting a business, having a business account, and having credit, using credit in your own favor, and the process of getting a loan, and all these kind of things that banking can get a bad name on it, but there definitely is benefits to kind of developing your credit and using banking to grow your dreams. So,
All right. Well, shout out to him for serving his community.
Yes, sir.
Ev, you want to let us know who the second sponsor is?
Yes, the second sponsor is Isosceles. Shout out to Franklin Gomez. He's the head of Isosceles. You see all of our marketing here. You see our branding, everything we've designed, everything that's been touched or stamped. He does. He hooks up Splaticus, and anything you need, give him a call. But thank you for sponsoring us, Franklin. Also, if you got a business that needs branding, chances are you might need some structure. So Nicole,
make sure you get Nicole.
Yeah, exactly.
Her information will be included in the description.
Yep.
Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And we're looking for those comments, y'all. So if you want those tickets, they're actually really, really good seats. So if you want them tickets, man, make sure you leave a comment. And with that, thank you very much once again, Nicole. We really appreciate you. We will love to welcome you back to hear, how has everything progressed. When you get that check, we want to do another podcast with you in the fur coat and the Versace shade. Saying like, I got my money, fuck all of y'all. And with that, we are out. Thank you.
No. So what they're saying, right? Just be clear for our audience, because I actually read that article. I didn't look at that. But what they said was
Dropping gems like we preaching. Don't overstep the line of my freedom of speaking. We cast to the world, put the words in the street and connecting all the minds of the people we reaching.
Yo,
Jury's out.
tempted to get fenced in and attempting teach you motherfuckers a lesson and pressing the issue at hand. Nah, I don't care about objections, suspensions, and cell inspections. Just suppression of black lives is my passion. And love for my fam is everlasting. So stop gassing these asses with glasses, cause in the end, I leave them where the trash
Jury's
is.
out. Jury's out. Jury's out.
There's no doubt what we about, and we kick it to the masses. Trying to spit the law as we laugh off our asses. Breaking down the latest shit, carrying crazy lady shit. Glad I got no baby shit. COVID got me crazy, bitch. Damn, and G gon' have to edit this. The jury's out, so you can't even credit us. No statements null and void, invalid evidence. No, you can't take us to court, cause you know.
Jury's out.